Hey guys, Jeremy here. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so on my channel, I'm always showing you things that are going well, winning deals, making money, etc. On today's video, I thought I'd really show you a day in the life of my real world, and that's about losing a deal on a property. But that's how we get better, right? We get better at negotiating. We get faster at making offers. Okay, so I received an email from Zillow or Redfin. I probably read the email within an hour of this property being listed. So this house basically meets all of my criteria that I'm looking for in investment properties. It's a 3-bedroom. I originally thought it was a 2-bath. I really like to have 2 full baths, but it's a very small 3 or 4 bedroom. Think starter homes. That's what I like for rental property. And this one's in my favorite school zone. It's also a ranch or a 1 level. It's got a fenced in backyard, and all those are things that are a recipe for what I like to rent to families. So I jump down, I look at the map, I zoom out, I get a feel for where I'm at. As a matter of fact, it's super close to that hoarder house, which is located right here. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up here. So I know this area well, love this area. So probably within about an hour of this house being listed, I look up the phone number for the listing agent, which is right here on realtor.com. It's also on Zillow and Redfin. I take that, I throw it in Google, I put my Chattanooga city, and I say telephone number. And so I call her up and I say, hey, I don't have a realtor. I'm interested in this property. I'd just like to use you. What time can you show it to me today? And I say, by the way, I'm an investor. I can pay all cash. And she says, you know, I can meet you this time. And I say, great. So right there, she's got twice the reason to show me the property so she can make double commission. I do some quick math on price per square foot. So I see the list price is $220. I divide it by 1,300 square feet and you get $169 per square foot, which some of these show you right here on the screen. So then I look up my last email that I received from Redfin or Zillow. They're always sending me these market analysis or recent sales history in the different areas. So I know that in this particular zip code and area that they're selling at $166 a square foot in the previous month. So that gives me a real-time sense of dollars per square foot in the areas I'm buying versus looking at houses that sold 6 months or 12 months ago. It gives me a good feel of an average condition house, a house that's ready to sell, what they're actually getting. So I see they're asking $169 versus $166. So they're asking a little above the average price that people are getting. As I look through the photos, I can see that it obviously needs some updating. They're already asking a little above what people are getting, but the house has really good layout. And again, I like the area. So if you see these dark spots on the hardwoods, they actually had carpet here and they pulled them up just to show buyers that it actually has real hardwoods and you can resurface them. But this is what happens when you have animals that use the bathroom on hardwood and it seeps through and it makes a really dark spot in the hardwoods. If you see that house number 39 that I just finished, it had the same things, and so I refinished them and went with a darker stain. In the end, you could still see them a little bit, but it was a lot better. If you haven't seen that video, I'll show you the renovation video up here. And the kitchen's very dated. It really needs to be completely torn out. I think this floor could stay. I could refinish the other floor. It really needs all new windows. It's got the old aluminum windows that sweat. They did just spend a bunch of money painting this whole thing, but look how they just painted over the cabinets the same exact paint and color as the wall. I would get rid of these doors here and put some, I always tear those things out and get some real proper doors. This room I would either paint or sheetrock. There was only one room like this. This is a Jack and Jill half bath between 2 bedrooms, and it has been redone. It looks pretty good. I was looking to see if there was an opportunity to make 2 full bathrooms or make another bathroom somewhere else. So here's the full bathroom. You can really see the spots in this room. They're major. So low 8-foot ceiling. Now the garage, I actually measured the garage to see if I expanded that and took that square footage by the average square footage, how much more would that make the house worth? And it still was a struggle to make this house kind of worth how much they were asking. The realtor even told me, this is not my price. The 2 sisters that own this now, the realtor ran some comps and showed it to these 2 sellers and said, you know, comps aren't bringing this price you guys are asking for much. It's never going to sell. So before I went to go see this thing in about an hour and a half, I jumped out to Zillow to look at what they had been selling for very recently. So let me show you that real quickly. So I simply Googled the address and put Zillow and clicked on Zillow. So if I go to Google, drop in the address, hit enter, I click on Zillow, then you get this map. I'm going to zoom in. It should be right in the middle of this. Okay, here it is, Carr Street. So when you get here, it's on sold. Sometimes this is on for sale or for rent. You want to make sure this is on sold. Okay, so great. It looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have sold semi-recently on the exact same street, maybe one over here. And looking at the same street or the same subdivision are excellent comps. So if I jump on this one for a minute, you see that it sold in February of 2022 for $234,000. So that's an excellent comp. And then you can look in here to see, okay, great, what kind of condition is this? And if you look at these pictures, you can see that this one is significantly more updated. I mean, look at that kitchen. There is some carpet, but it looks like it appears to be brand new carpet. Really nice bathroom, another nice bathroom. Let's do a zoom in on that kitchen. Kitchens are an expensive area. Looks like new countertops, if not new cabinets, maybe old cabinets, no popcorn ceilings, new lighting. The floors are done. Looks like new paint everywhere. Looks like new carpet. completely renovated, and the subject property is not renovated. Nice bathrooms. So if you take the $234,000 that it sold for and divide by the square footage, $184 a square foot. So what you can do is take that dollar per square foot and multiply it by the square footage of the subject property. So let me look over here. When did this one sell? Okay, this one sold in 2020. That's way too long ago. This one sold in 2020, way too long ago. This one sold in 2020 as well, too long ago. These days, you need things that sold very recently to be more relevant. This one sold in February of 2022. Okay, it's on that corner street. All right, so 200,000 divided by 1404 is 142 a square. This is a nicer subdivision here, so this would not be one that you use, but maybe this street right here, you could zoom in and look at them and see if they look about the same and drive by the areas. And what you can see I did is I put the address, the sales price, the dollar per square foot, and the date it sold, and I kind of circled, okay, this is recent history to give you a feel what houses are selling for in that same area per square foot real time. So next what I did was I made a real short list of some of the renovations that I would have to do in order to update this house. Hardwoods, $2,500 to refinish them. Kitchen, $7,500 to redo the cabinets, countertop. Remove the popcorn ceiling, $2,000. Replace the windows, $5,000. New closet doors, $2,000. Put a microwave hood above the stove. So I came up with about $30,000 to remodel this house. If I add that to the listing price of $220,000, we're looking at $250,000. I divided that by the 1,300 square foot that the house has, and that took me up to $192 a square. Well, that really good comp that we saw that just sold last month was only at $184 a square foot. So this house is just priced too much for the condition that it's in. The realtor was right. The other thing I did was say, well, what if I enclose that garage? So I looked up how big an average one-car garage is and got an average of 273 square feet. I added that to the 1,300 square feet to give me a total of 1,573 square feet. And then I multiplied it by that $166 a square foot that they've been selling for recently. And that says an after repaired value of a house that size in that area would bring about $260,000. But of course, that's remodeling that garage and turning it into another bedroom and maybe another half or full bath. That's going to be about $10,000 minimum. So that $30,000 now turns into $40,000. If you add that to the $220,000 they're asking, you're up to $260,000. So I'm basically back to that $260,000 number, and I would have no equity in this property. I'd do all this work to remodel an old house with zero equity. That's really not a game I like to play. Like, why would I do that? So of course I need to get some kind of value up front. So I'm thinking about this while I'm driving to the house. I show up and she says there's already 22 showings scheduled for that house on the first day. Crazy, right? I like the layout. I like the house. It's got old plumbing, there's some drainage issues. She tells me about offers coming in, a cash offer coming in. Later that day, there were a total of 8 offers. So I said, listen, I can do an all cash, no contingencies, super clean. I'll pay my own title policy if that's what it takes to win this deal. I said, hey, can I get my guy to come over here and crawl through this thing before I send you the offer so that I can have him look under the house and look in the attic and just have him take a look at it instead of having an inspection contingency? And she said, you bet. So I called Terry and I'm saying, hey, Terry, can you drop what you're doing and come check out this house? And he says, sure. She's got a bunch of showings scheduled, but if no one's there, go ahead and look around the outside, crawl under the crawl space, and just wait until the next showing shows up, and just walk in and act like you're supposed to be there. If she asks, here's the listing agent's name, let the other realtor know that she's giving you permission to check the house out. So Terry walks in with a clipboard, walks right in. But he checks it out. It says there's old plumbing, but nothing major. So I go ahead and submit an offer for $200,000 even. Super clean, no contingencies, no financing contingencies, no inspection contingency, no termite contingency. I'll pay for my own title policy. I'll close within 30 days or sooner, as quickly as the title company is able to have the paperwork ready. When I do the math on the cash flow from how much rent I think I get, that looks strong. And I would plan to hold this house long-term as a long-term rental. So I would make monthly cash flow, and then that equity could build over time as I pay down my loan and as it goes up in value. And just to be clear, I would buy it with cash so I can win the deal, but I would finance it later down the road after I finish repairing it, after I get it rented, right? The BRRRR method. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. The other thing I added to mine, I knew there was a lot of interest in the house, and so I added an expiration at 6 p.m. on the day of listing. This way, the sellers could say, hey, I got a bird in hand for cash. Maybe I should just go ahead and take it, or do I want to wait for a bunch of people with loans to walk through it? So the agent called me back before 6 o'clock and said, the buyers aren't going to take it. They want us to wait several days and do a best and final 2 or 3 days from now. So I strategically waited until the last day and the last couple of hours. $1,000. I called the agent back. She had over 22 showings, 8 offers. There was another all cash offer on the table. People were offering well over asking. So I said, listen, I'm not gonna go in crazy land. It's already there. I'm gonna go 230, same terms and conditions. I don't expect to win, but I'll be a backup offer for you because I don't wanna grossly overpay for a property. And I'm working on a renovation now. I'm closing on a house that I'm buying in a couple of weeks. It needs a full renovation, so that'll take me, call it 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And I don't wanna have 2 or 3 empty vacant houses that need to be remodeled like I was doing a few months back. That's stressful. After submitting the offer, I went and liquidated some of my portfolio and sold my Bitcoin and my Tesla while I was up in both of them. And something else, when I bought the last 10 properties, at that time when I'm putting the offer and even when I'm closing, I'm thinking, did I pay too much for this property? So here I am again feeling the same way. And in my mind, I thought, well, I felt that way the last 10 times and it's always turned out well and I've been happy later. And so if that does happen to me and I kind of make a mistake or an error and pay too much, then if I kind of lose on one deal, but I won on, you know, call it 40 other ones, that's pretty good odds. So after submitting that second offer at 230, I felt really good in my gut, like I felt very indifferent. If I win, good. If I don't win, fine, no problem. And that's really where I want to be. Someone else paid a really high price. I think she still got me in her phone. I think they may have accepted the other cash offer, and she knows I'm a backup in case that falls through. Having thought about that whole process and that house, I really want to start focusing on not buying junk properties. I'm buying house number 41 next week, and I still don't have a very good gut feeling about that house. The area is a little rougher than I like to have. And so what I want to focus on now, you know, in addition to my starter home houses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or maybe a small 3 or 4 bedroom house in a couple of good school zones I like. But in addition to that, I want to find a house that I have a good gut feeling when I drive up to. I like the surrounding area, the surrounding houses. We'll call it curb appeal, if you will, but just a good gut feeling of, yeah, I'd like to live there. I mean, it might need to be cleaned up or remodeled. I can see through those things. Say I pay 3 or 4% or more than it's maybe really worth at that time. If my strategy is to buy it and hold it long term and rent this thing out, and if homes are going up, you know, 15% a year, it won't be but, you know, 3 or 4 months or so before it'll be worth what I'm paying for it anyway. But if it cash flows, that's what's key to me. And then I've got this house that's very desirable, so when someone moves in it, it's easier to rent, people will stay longer and that kind of thing, and I'll be proud to own it, right? If I get some junk property, when the market flips and let's say I want to sell one or rent one, no one's going to want to live there. The one I'm buying next week's got 2 duplexes across the street. It's in a downtown area of a little small town, and the little small town is booming. I'm actually building my new house there. It's called Ooltewah. It's an Indian name. But there are some teardowns and there are some new restaurants within a walkable distance. But there's still a lot of ugly all over the streets driving to and from. The house I bought also has a metal roof on it, which I'm not crazy about. So again, I just wanted to show you a day in the life of losing a deal. I lose a lot more deals than I win. You always learn some things. And so some of the lessons learned, of course, are trying to focus on not buying some junk properties, not paying too much for a property. I think I did a good job of jumping on this, seeing it quickly, making offers quickly. I like how I added the expiration clause in that deal. I actually stole that from the other cash offer that was coming in and did the same thing. I had seen that a couple of times, but I'll definitely be doing that again. The other thing I usually put in a lot of my offers these days is that I'll pay $1,000 more than any other cash buyer up to a certain amount. I'm currently working on a loan to pull out about $1 million on 6 of my properties that are paid off so I can acquire some more properties. I'm able to do that at 3.1% over a 20-year amortization. It's actually a 10-year term, but that's a fantastic rate for right now, which will help me cash flow on these properties as I acquire them and hold them long term. And my interest rate can't go up for another 10 years. So even though the prices of houses will be going up and rents will be going up, the biggest cost of mine, which will be interest, will stay relatively the same. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your support. Stay tuned for my next video on the worst deal that I've ever done. I recently had to sell one of my lease purchase properties because the lease purchase client or tenant exercised his right to buy the property, and it was such a skinny deal for me. I made so little and he made over $100,000. If you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel if you would click the like button. I hope you have a great week and I'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, although I'm a licensed CPA and I have 3 business degrees, I'm just a guy on YouTube, so be sure to contact your professionals before making any investment decisions. Thank you so much and I'll see you next week. IdentityGuard.com is now offering my subscribers a 33% discount on their services. See the link in the show notes below.